Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ciao, Vishnupada, Ashtara, Shiva. His Divine Grace, the A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. His Community Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ciao, Vishnupada, Paramahamsa Parivraj Acharya, Satara Satvashishima. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Shalidas Thakur Ki. Prinsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Cham Kundanada Kundagiri Govardhan Ki. Raj Bhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki. New Jagannath Puri Dham Ki. Navadvip Maya Pradhan Ki. Kama Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Shri Ram Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Transcendental Book and Prasad and Distribution Ki Jai. Ora Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Shri Guru the lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can obtain pure devotion of service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet, Srila Prabhupada. Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Srimati Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Close. The second moving shot, all the buckets are on the buckets, and everything necklace, clothes are called necklace. Nelken. 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 Wat is het? Nelken. Nelken.
This one. That's what's on the. We get yeah.
No, that's not it.
This one. Because it's good.
Yeah. Looks like it's big over there. Ist doch rausgelassen.
Ja, war jetzt nicht da heute.
Ja, gestern gerufen, der Liese. Ich jetzt nicht.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Janavallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Nandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, good morning. Thank you very much for being here physically, and thank you very much for those who are online. We an opportunity to spend time and absorb our consciousness in the words of pure devotees, who are very rare in this material world. And by doing such, our consciousness becomes purified and we can experience a different type of existence, which we are actually meant for. So, thank you for facilitating this. We are in Canto 4, chapter 22, text 48. Is that right? Yeah. And this text comes, it's actually Maitreya Vacha starts to speak, so we know that Prithu Maharaj, due to his wonderful character, please open fully. Yeah. Due to his good qualities and deeds, attracted 4 Kumaras, these great saints, to come and visit. So actually everyone else also got the benefit. And today's verse is a little bit speaking about this, and maybe we can open it up a little bit. And so Kumaras, they gave very wonderful instructions to Parikshit Maharaj, but now they are leaving. And this is the verse which states that. Maitreya Vacha Ta Atma Yoga Pataya Adirajena Pujita Shilam Tadiyam Samsanta Kebavan Mishatam Drinam Maitreya Vacha Ta Atma Yoga Pataya Adirajena Pujita Shilam Tadiyam Samshanta Kebavan Mishatam Drinam. Please repeat. Maitreya Vacha Ta Atma Yoga Pataya Adirajena Pujita Shilam Tadiyam Samshanta Kebavan Mishatam Rinam. Maitreya Vacha Ta Atma Yoga Pataya Adirajena Pujita Shilam Tadiyam Samshanta Kebavan Mishatam Rinam. Ladies. Maitreya Vacha Ta Atma Yoga Pataya Adirajena Pujita Shilam Tadiyam Samsanta Kebavan Mishatam Rinam. Maitreya Vacha, great sage Maitreya, continue to speak. Te, they, Atma Yoga Pataya, the masters of self-realization, by devotional service. Adirajena, by the original king, Prithu. Yeah. Pujita, being worshipped. Shilam, character. Tadiyam, of the king. Samsanta, this is a difficult word. Eulogized. Yeah, that's what it's. Eulogizing. Yeah, that's a new way to say that. I never noticed how to read this. What it means? Eulogizing? Yes.
Like praising.
All right. Eulogizing, praising. K in the sky. Abhavan appeared. Mishatam while observing. Nrinam of the people. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The great sage Maitreya continued. Being thus worshipped by Maharaj Prithu, the 4 Kumaras, who were masters of devotional service, became very pleased. Indeed, they appeared in the sky and praised the character of the king, and everyone observed them. That's interesting. You see the picture of Prithu Maharaj worshipping the 4 Kumars, and they go up in the sky and they glorify Prithu Maharaj, and everyone is looking at it. Purport. It is said that the demigods never touch the surface of the earth. They walk and travel in space only. Like the great sage Narada, the Kumaras do not require any machine to travel in space. There are also residents of Siddhaloka who can travel in space without machines. Since they can go from one planet to another, they are called Siddhas. That is to say, they have acquired all mystic and yogic powers. Such great saintly persons who have attained complete perfection in mystic yoga are not visible in this age on earth, because humanity is not worthy of their presence. The Kumaras, however, praised the characteristics of Maharaj Prithu and his great devotional attitude and humility. The Kumaras were greatly satisfied by King Prithu's method of worship. It was by the grace of Maharaj Prithu that the common citizens in his domain could see the Kumaras flying in outer space. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapatantikam Mandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The great sage Maitreya continued. Being thus worshipped by Maharaj Prithu, the 4 Kumaras, who were masters of devotional service, became very pleased. Indeed, they appeared in the sky and praised the character of the king, and everyone observed them. There's a few kind of threads which I picked up in a purport. One was about different kind of mystic powers, that some living beings don't need to buy airplane tickets and train tickets and so on. They're not restricted by their movements. They can actually travel to a much greater degree than us who are in these bodies, material bodies. Well, not only material bodies. According to Shastra, their different realms have a different types of how to say this constituents, ratio of elements. They are still material bodies, but the ratio of the elements is different. As you go higher planets, then the body becomes more subtle. So you will have here, in comparison, here we have more earth and water. Our body is quite a lot of water, I think. What is it, 80% or something? And then there is the earth, the bones, and then some is the fire, and some is the like that. But then as you go higher, then you have more ethereal. There's more intelligence, more mind, and fire is there, like that. And so these living, depending on where we are, in which realm we are, and that depends on our qualification. Then we get also, you would call it, facilities. Benefits, no. If you live in Switzerland and you actually worked your life very nicely and paid your taxes nicely, then in an old age you have, I think, train is free, your transportation is free, and your pension is almost the size of your salary, and you can actually, it's quite beneficial. In other countries, it could be a very different story. So anyway, these siddhas, they can travel without any, that's something, another existence. And another thread which I picked up is such great saintly persons who have attained complete perfection in mystic yoga are not visible in this age on earth because humanity is not worthy of their presence. This word kind of caught my attention. They're not worthy of their presence. Why do you think we are not worthy of their presence? Anyway, yeah, you can say it, I can repeat it. There's Simon is ready.
Yeah, it's I can imagine. I can imagine that there are many people who are like really ready to get on a high level what they have to say or what they have to share, and so they don't go to the people who are not really ready, or maybe some people are. I heard actually Radhanath Swami was telling this story that, for example, there was a association, a meeting when he was traveling in India, and then there was a master who was controlling matter, and it appears like in the story that he also was on a quite high level. I don't know how high, but I think also here on a rare occasion it might be happening, but overall, we're not worthy. Yeah.
Okay, we cannot. Okay, someone else?
What was exactly?
Why we are not worthy of seeing them?
But what was the point? Why we are not worthy?
Yeah, we're just not. It's not that we are not worthy because how we are who we are. It's just that we're not advanced yet, and they just choose to speak. People who actually can accept that. It's as if you talk to a worm on the earth. It's just not ready to hear what you're saying. It's not on that level.
I just felt finally like a worm. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah. I was thinking of the example of of a child. Child. A father might have a friend of a great physicist or great man who comes to visit, but the child is most likely not capable of receiving it because not mature yet. So the conditioned souls, they want something else. They are a bit confused, and they cannot appreciate. I think that's the main point. Why we don't see such great saintly. I mean, we have a chance. Living in a temple, I was just thinking about this coloration of Prithu Maharaj, because he was so advanced. He pulled these Kumaras to see him, and because he was so advanced, all the others could see him. And I don't want to embarrass Damodar Prabhu, Damodar Prasad Prabhu, but he's taking up this responsibility of temple president, and there's so many duties to do, and the temple is still open. After 1 year of running a temple, he is still open. It's still on a map of ISKCON centers, and it's not only open, it's actually vibrant and dynamic. And what is the proof of it? That the preachers just came. Sadhus, real sadhus, just came. My spiritual master, His Holiness Indradyumna Maharaj, he always says, when we would do a tour, when there's a Polish tour, it's a hard work. It's like 50 festivals. We had how many? 3, 2. Just they're having festival almost every day. 50 festivals in 2 months. So you are tired. But then he said, and we would get sadhus coming because such preaching, such sacrifice is being done. Swamis would come. Bhakti-Vaibhav Maharaj would come visit, Bhakti-Vedipur Maharaj would come visit, Shivaram Swami would come visit, different kind of Swamis would come visit, and he would always say that the payment of your sacrifice is the association of these sadhus, because the association of the sadhus, there's something very special what they can give, what no one else can give. And we could speak about it a little bit more, but I didn't want it to digress. So yes, thank you very much, Damodar Prasad Prabhu, for running this temple and keeping it open and attracting sadhus. We're just doing what you're telling us to do. So I actually don't know how you do it. But anyway, Krishna has given everybody some gifts, so we don't really need to compare ourselves to others. Each of us have something very valuable what we can contribute in this life, in this Krishna consciousness movement, and in the service of Krishna, and pleasing the sadhu, pleasing the guru, and then our life becomes a very special life. it becomes a very special life. I'm sure all of you wanted some special life. Well, this is it. This is the chance to have it. Just hang in there. Just, sometimes it's difficult, The mind and senses. We've been, have you ever been robbed? Like someone stole something from you? Like on a bus or in a train in India. I just remember Dina Dayal, he went to India and he said, "Do you want something?" "Yeah, dhotis, bring dhotis and kurtas." So you had nice dhotis and kurtas, and then in a train, gone. No dhoti, no kurta. Yes, anyone? Have you experienced that someone actually stole something from you? Well, I'm Switzerland, Brazil. Yeah, you have. Yes. How that feels? It's not nice, huh? It's just like they violated you. How about cheating? Somebody cheat you? I'm sure in Switzerland there is good cheating.
Should I tell you a good story?
You should. Here's the microphone. Krishna.
I remember. Actually, it reminds me of when you wanted to get something. So remember, a few weeks ago, you were so passionate about some furniture.
Yes.
And then so many indications come, but you still push, and then in the end, when I was in Florida with my Gurumaj, then my phone broke down somehow, and I wanted to have the new iPhone. Something like this. No, my phone broke down, and then I called the Apple services, and some nice Indian gentleman picked up and said, "Oh yeah, no problem. That is common. We will happily exchange your phone with a new one." And I'm like, wow, jackpot. And he said,
Krishna's arrangement.
Yeah, and I'm so happy. And he's like, "You just have to go to the store and buy how you call Gutschein?
Or something like.
These cards, Apple store cards,
Mm-hmm.
because we have to." In order to have the shipment done, you need some credit. I don't know how much it was, maybe $100. I said, yeah, no problem. So I drove to the store, bought the card, gave him the code, and then he said, somehow it didn't work. Something was wrong. You have to buy another one. And so I bought another one, I gave him the code, and then he said, "Sir, I'm sorry to say we will all refund, but you have to buy another one." And then somehow I felt something is wrong here. So I don't know what I think I told him, okay, I'll see what I can do. And then I hang up the phone and I tried to call the phone number again, and it was not available anymore. It was not Apple services. It was how you call that? There is a word. There's cheating hotlines. Somehow or other they managed to get on top one in Google.
Mm-hmm.
So I googled Apple services, and they managed to get it in the first place, and you call the wrong number, and they just rip you off.
Wow.
And I remember when I realized what happened, I was so angry. Some Indian guy in Delhi in an office just ripped me off. $200.
Clean. Yes.
And I thought, how can I be so stupid, Anyway, I learned something.
It feels so not nice, Yeah. It feels you're violated. So why I ask this? Senses and mind, they actually cheat us on a regular basis. They cheat our attention from us.
Hold on.
Hare Krishna. Tulsi Maharani ki. So they cheat us. We are so familiar with our senses and the mind, but the senses and mind, they're actually designed somewhat to. We desire them to enjoy something different from Krishna, kind of be pulled away from Krishna's relationship. And the mind is expert cheater, actually even better than the Delhi guy. It's just... and here comes in why I wanted to say the sadhu. When we see sadhu, how they deal with their mind and the senses, it was so nice to observe Jayadvaita Swami. And I actually remember first time when I met him in Greece, when he came, I could actually serve him for about a week, I think, 5 days. I could see how he was managing his mind and senses. I mean, his mind I couldn't see, but thank you so much. He was so fixed in service, so kind of regulated, and so like if he did his chanting, then he was working, then he was reading, then he was going for a it was just a flow of 1 hour, and he chose to do it. That's another thing. Even this time when Maharaj came, on numerous occasions he's like, okay, now I'm going to do this. Like he was Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Just as small instances, how they are in a mood of a service and they are humble. You know, this is Jayadvaita Maharaj, like Damodar Prasad Prabhu said, these are legends. These are living legends. They are still here. You know, they were when Prabhupada came. They were not just saw Prabhupada. They were spending time with him. Spending time is one thing, but when you serve under spiritual master, my God, that's completely different. You know. Yeah. Prabhupada's heart, you know, and I'm just also making, you know, okay, we are initiated and some of us want to be initiated, but being with a spiritual master, serving him, ooh, the heat knob is on, you know, it's really, it's different than just seeing and hear. So there's a certain intensity, and Jayadvaita Swami was one of them. So he was Jayadvaita Swami was coming down. He was just about to leave, and he's this great Swami, and I think Damodar Prabhu said, "Do you want to just look in the door? Look at how many people or deities take it?" And he touched the handle, and he was like. And he knew Keshav Maharaj was giving class. He touched the door, he said, "No. If I look, he will be distracted. I will distract him." And then he just left. You know, he thought, yeah, I mean, he would be definitely would, oh Maharaj, you know, and he thought, no, for the service, for the class, for the service of Krishna, you know, his glorification was not needed at that time. He just anyway, things like this show and then upstairs he arrived. I think he unpacked, took a shower. First he oiled himself, took a shower. This also shows how they take care of their health. Unpacked, put tilak, it's like, I'll chant the Gayatri. And he, just like a swan, he just floated down, offered obeisances, chanted Gayatri, came up. You know, it's just so nice to see how he dealt with his senses, with his mind. And then he preached to us. Not preached, but like that. Anyway, so just observing the sadhus, how they deal with the mind and the senses. They have learned to control them. So the mind doesn't cheat and the senses doesn't cheat. That you actually use the mind for the service of Krishna and use the senses for the service of Krishna. And in Goloka Vrindavan, for example, these residents, this is a small one line. Krishna's real identity was certainly beyond the range of the sense perception. That is why he is called Adhokshaja. But Mother Yashoda's mind and senses were sanctified with thousands of feelings of love for her son. So that's what's happening in the mind of Mother Yashoda. Thousands of feelings of affection and love. What's happening in our minds? Thousands of other feelings and thoughts and desires, not really related to Krishna. So yes, how to control the senses? By first of all seeing that it is possible, by having association with those who have managed somehow to control the mind and the senses, by engaging the mind and the senses in the service of Krishna, and keeping ourselves in a mood of goodness. Mood of goodness really helps to keep them. If we engage in activities of mood of goodness, engage our senses and keep it there, it's much more easier to engage in the service of Krishna when we keep the mood of goodness. Okay, these are the few thoughts I had. What I wanted to share. If you have any other reflections or questions or comments. If not, I have a little portion about humility I can read.
Can I say something?
Please.
Yeah, how you said these legends, these are legends, and I was just thinking how, when you look back on, we hear about Jesus Christ, he's so famous, whole world knows Jesus Christ, the great preacher, and then we don't know who that was, but we hear some names, his associates, and they're really famous too. And then, if you see what Prabhupada did compared to what Jesus Christ did, many say Prabhupada was the greatest preacher that ever walked this earth. Nobody did something. And then these personalities, they were his closest associates. Jayadvaita Maharaj was one of his closest associates for sure. And we just have the chance to be with that person.
Easy. Still here.
And the thing is, we don't understand it.
We don't.
And we don't. The problem is we cannot see who these personalities are. Only when one really observes closely, like, it's nice how you go into the detail now. Then he came in and he did that. And then you actually start to understand, hold on, they're not ordinary people. They're a different platform. And yeah, that's something I always try to remind myself how fortunate I am, we are. We tend to lament, oh, we just missed Prabhupada.
Yes.
And 500 years ago is also not so long we missed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But actually Vaisheshika Prabhu said, when Prabhupada explains in the Krishna book, I think how a spirit soul, before he comes to the eternal Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, he will take birth at the place where Krishna appears, and then he will be trained up. He says, we took birth here to be trained up, because Gora Lila is still happening, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Lila. Prabhupada just came, his devotees, they're training us up. And that's how significant it is that we are in this movement, how fortunate we are.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes I feel so, it pains me almost when some Jayadvaita Maharaj comes, I become so excited, you know, and it's just nectar, you know, you want to even almost spoon feed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
With my Guru Maharaj, it was, when I was with him, similar, you just want to do everything you can. But then sometimes I feel so, when I see devotees don't take it seriously, they don't understand. You know,
value.
Some Swami just runs in and out and Haribol.
They're tired, I need to clean the room now.
Yeah, that's like, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, we are a little bit unworthy, and but at least we can remind each other. And I mean, it's so nice that we can talk about this, that we are more aware. Also, you know, they are so humble, and they're just, yeah, they make you feel that you're so special, that you are so special. And then there's so much affection. So much affection. So, here is something, let's see if I can, this is from Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and this is a portion where Gop Kumar, he has gone through the material, different kind of realms to the even highest, then even to Brahmajyoti, then he has gone even to Vaikuntha, and then from Vaikuntha he has gone to Dwaraka, and he's in Dwaraka, and he's still not satisfied. And then Uddhava, who is Krishna's advisor, has taken him home, to his home, and privately to speak with him, because that didn't want to disturb the mood in Dwaraka. So he is, and Narada Muni is there, and Uddhava, and they are speaking with Gop Kumar. And matter of fact, I think this is Narada Muni speaking to Gop Kumar, and it's speaking about dainya, about humility, and it's just a very important ingredient. That loving devotional service is far different from disciplines such as karma, jnana, and yoga. At every stage it is decorated by indifference to them, and its root is dainya, utter humility. So bhakti is decorated with indifference to karma, jnana, and yoga. It's like indifferent. And its root is utter humility. Bhakti Yoga, and some of this is a purports of Gopi Paradana Prabhu, who is another legend, another Prabhupada's associate, who really exemplified humility. I had a chance to serve him. He came on a Polish tour. He was such a great scholar. He was so humble. Really, you would never know. Such a wonderful devotee. Bhakti Yoga, he just gave his life to Prabhupada to write, to edit the books and to make sure Prabhupada's clarity and purity and message is preserved. Bhakti Yoga in all its phases of practice and achievement in this life and the next is always decorated with the ornament of indifference to material desires. This holds true whether bhakti is performed internally with a subtle body or externally with one's physical body and senses and the body's external possessions. When one allows secondary means and goals to become prominent, one deviates from bhakti. The most essential support and a candidate for pure bhakti must always take help from it is utter humility. Read this again. The most essential support and a candidate for pure bhakti must always take help from it is utter humility. This is next verse. Wise men define dainya is utter humility, as the state in which one always thinks oneself exceptionally incapable and low, even when endowed with all excellences. So interesting, someone possesses all excellences, but he feels about himself low. He doesn't, and this is what makes it so attractive when someone possesses so much, but they don't show off. They don't. You must experience this with also swamis, you know. They're so powerful, but they are at the same time so humble and not. It's so pleasant to be around such persons. Narada's own definition of dainya distinguishes his use of the word from the other possible meanings, such as poverty, becoming selfless by not accepting charity, and being free from egotism. Someone might say that the quality of thinking oneself very fallen may also be seen in persons who are simply lazy, or those who abandon auspicious work or indulge in sinful acts. Therefore, Narada specifies that one who actually has dainya is endowed with all good qualities. For instance, such a person observes positive and negative regulations. He is free of a false ego, and he has a healthy fear of material life. Furthermore, though Narada doesn't say so, transcendental dainya is a state of extreme agitation that can lead to tears and other ecstatic outbreaks. Next text. Actually, text after. I will read. An intelligent person should carefully cultivate speech, behavior, and thinking that fixed him in utter humility, and anything that stands in the way of it he should avoid. Dainya, at its most exalted, comes forth when prema, pure love of God, reaches full maturity, as it did in the women of Gokula when they were separated from Krishna. Commentary. Ordinary dainya can be developed by human effort, but there is also a type of dainya beyond the mundane that comes from receiving the Supreme Lord's favor. The word tu in this verse contrasts these distinct kinds of dainya. Almost everyone in material world is separated from Krishna, but most people never experience dainya because they have no prema. Therefore, they can never become free from suffering and attain true happiness. To achieve transcendental dainya, one must learn to love Krishna in a mood felt by the gopis, led by Sri Radha, when Krishna left them to go to Mathura. We can understand from the example of the gopis Viraha Bhava, their feelings of love and separation, that this special dainya arises only when by Sri Krishna's exceptional mercy, a devotee who has realized Krishna's sweetness develops extraordinary prema in his heart in the mood of separation. As prema appears in degrees of excellence, so does dainya. Next text, when dainya fully matures, prema unfolds without limit. And so we see dainya and prema acting in a relationship in which each is both cause and effect. And it continues. There's some more verses on it. I will complete here. If you anything else? Right? Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.